Buckle up, because last week's market action wasn't just a rebound, it was a plot twist straight out of a financial thriller. At Jackson Hole, Jerome Powell dropped what felt like a mic. With a few carefully chosen words, he hinted that rate cuts might be back on the table. Suddenly, Wall Street flipped from fear to full-on FOMO. Value stocks and small caps went vertical, because when the Fed blinks, those names rocket. And here's the plot twist. The Dow hit a record high, up 1.5%, while the Nasdaq, the usual tech darling, actually slipped. That's not just noise. That's investors shouting, "We're done chasing growth, bring on the cheap money plays." But underneath the celebration, the data told a more complicated story. PMI, booming, strongest in more than 3 years. But jobless claims, creeping higher like cracks in the foundation. And tariffs? They're pushing input costs up, setting the stage for inflation déjà vu. Housing was the surprise cameo. Sales jumped as mortgage rates finally eased. Now, let's take a quick world tour. Europe, flashing green shoots. The Eurozone PMI is back in expansion, Germany's stabilizing, but consumer confidence is still shaky. Across the channel, the UK is in hot water. Inflation heating up to nearly 4%. Services inflation at 5%. The Bank of England is basically cornered. Japan, think rate hike watch. Inflation is sticky, bond yields at a 17-year high, and another hike could hit as soon as October. But exports are tumbling under tariffs and weak demand. It's a high-stakes balancing act. And then there's China. Markets there are raging higher, driven by retail traders piling in like it's 2015 all over again. The problem? Margin debt is exploding just shy of record highs. That's not just a rally. It's a tinderbox. One spark and boom. Everything could unwind in days. So, what's next? 5 risks you cannot ignore this week. A PCE inflation shock, worsening labor cracks, tariffs squeezing profits, China's leverage bubble, and central banks pulling in totally opposite directions. Plus, a US data deluge, GDP updates, housing numbers, and the Fed's favorite inflation gauge on Friday. That's the report that could confirm or kill Powell's pivot. Here's the bottom line. Markets are moving faster than ever, and the next few days could rewrite the playbook. Don't just scroll past. Share this video, smash like, hit subscribe, and go listen to the full podcast right now. That's where we dive deep and give you the edge before the rest of the market even wakes up.